ducks die myself, but I did notice a substantial decrease in the duck population over the course of a few years. I just never thought to stop the man and tell him that he was killing the ducks by feeding them sourdough bread. And if you want my opinion on the matter, and I told Orville this as well, if you want to feed ducks, or birds, or any kind for that matter, it's best to buy seed. I mean, when you think about it, breads of any sort don't occur in nature. They don't grow on trees or spring up from the bushes. I don't think birds know what to do with bread. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So I bought Orville some rye bread. What a fine day it was. Well, it seems that your journey has ended. Very sorry about that. It was always going to end this way, of course. If it weren't by me, it would have just been by some other, terrible thing. Just, you could not imagine how terrible it would be. Just, I get scared thinking about it. Glad it's not me. It reminds me of a time I was speaking to my good friend Orville. We were we were sitting on a park bench watching the pigeons. I was on the left, he was on the wait, was I on the right or left? Anyways, it doesn't matter. We were sitting on there watching the pigeons, and I said to Orville, "Friend, those birds are frozen." And he kind of looked at me like I lost my mind. But I reminded him that it was winter, and often birds will sit in a tree until they freeze. Then they sort of fall to the ground until the sun warms up and they can, move around again. So I said to Orville, you might as well save those breadcrumbs until the birds thaw, because they can't very well enjoy them in the condition they're in. To which he asked what I meant, and asking what condition the crumbs should be in before he threw them to the birds, assuming that I meant the birds couldn't enjoy the breadcrumbs in the condition that the crumbs were in, when in fact I had meant the birds could not enjoy them in the condition that the birds were in, considering that the birds were frozen. So he took a moment and then threw his last handful onto the ground. I said to him, Orville, why did you throw the breadcrumbs to the birds when I just told you they're frozen? To which he responded, the breadcrumbs are not frozen. Again, misunderstanding my words. I didn't mean to say that the breadcrumbs were frozen when I said I told you they're frozen. I'd been referring to the birds. In hindsight, what I should have said was, and this would make perfect sense, why did you throw the breadcrumbs to the birds when the birds are frozen? He misunderstood upon my correction, stating that he didn't know what else to do with the breadcrumbs, and that perhaps, when the birds thawed, they'd still be able to eat the crumbs. So I said to Orville, I said, and this is what I said to him, I said, Orville, the birds may be dead. It seems that you have met a horrible demise, my friend.
What
But,
are you doing?
these things happen, and not for you, obviously. You're dead. But it reminds me of a time I was having a conversation with my friend Orville. We were, where were we? I think we were by the river. We were sitting by the river and watching the fish leap over the falls. And I said to Orville, sometimes I feel like a fish leaping over and over again, always trying to
Get ready for something new.
somewhere. Oh, I don't know where, only to find myself in the jaws of a beast. He, of course, looked at me, surprised. Have you been in the jaws of a beast, friend? To which I said, no, of course not, Orville. I said, no. I simply meant that life can seem like a relentless endeavor to overcome meaningless obstacles, only to meet an equally meaningless fate, regardless of your efforts, regardless of the obstacles you've passed. And Orville, he stood and proceeded to drape me with a picnic cloth, to which I asked him, I said, friend, what are you doing? He looked at me very concerned, really. I feel like you've gotten too much sun. Indeed, indeed I had. He proceeded to pour me a glass of just ice cold lemonade. Ooh, you ever mix it with iced tea? You do like a little half lemonade, half. Ooh, you should try it some. Well, you can't because you're dead. But, anyways, so you may be asking yourself, how did I go from sitting by the falls and drinking lemonade to being wedged in the air duct. Not only with Orville, but with an entire assortment of fruity-colored friends. Well, there's really no good answer to that, but perhaps I met a demise of my own at some point, and this is my afterlife or my dream, whatever it might mean. I honestly don't know. Or maybe it doesn't mean anything at all. Maybe it doesn't mean anything at all. It seems that you have met your end. What a pity. You know, I don't feel too bad about it, though. After all, if